With the new massive influx of players Don't Starve Together is receiving, here's a few tips and tricks for new and returning players of the Don't Starve series. These tips are aimed at people that are completely new to the game or have played the original single player Don't Starve before, since there's a lot of things that have changed in the game's transition to multiplayer. Unlike in Don't Starve single player, in Together, if you equip 2 pieces of armor, their defense stats will no longer stack or multiply off each other. Instead, your defense is calculated based on your highest defending armor. However, durability will be shared across the armor equipped, with the durability damage received depending on how much was mitigated. Essentially though, if you have 2 pieces of armor on, like a football helmet and a grass suit, when you take damage, the football helmet will take the most durability damage since it defended the most. However, the grass suit will still take a portion of the durability, so you can extend the life of your armor by wearing it with others. In single player, fire was catastrophic, causing your entire base and forest to go up in smoke if even the smallest fire broke out. However, in Together, fire will cause nearby items to smolder before combusting, giving you a better chance of containing any oncoming blaze. So feel free to use wood walls now. I remember nobody using wooden walls back in single player due to the terrible chain reaction that would occur when a fire hound dies. This tip isn't an invitation just to start lighting stuff on fire though, sorry Willow. Unlike in single player, the hounds in Together can swim. They'll swim to cross rivers, attack from the coast, and yes, even chase you if you try and sail away. Hound attacks won't start on you if you're out at sea on a boat, but if a wave is coming before you sail out, as in you can hear them baying and your character is commenting on it, they will still attack you on a boat. And due to the tiny space on a boat, it's a good idea to get back to land as soon as possible if you hear the hounds coming and you're at sea. Make sure to check the character's compendium to find out their favourite food. If a character eats their favourite food, they'll get an extra 15 points of hunger from it. Some characters have an easy favourite to get, like Wolfgang's roasted potatoes, Warwick's durians, and Walter's trail mix. If you're out and about and see this creepy looking table, don't worry, it's not too dangerous. If you bring around 2 hammers and continue to smash it for a while, eventually you'll get a blueprint for the end table. This is a mostly decorative object that accepts flowers. However, if you go into the caves and pick some light bulbs, the end table will accept them as flowers, giving off light for a few days. Also, planting flowers of any type in the end table will give you 5 sanity. So decorate your base with these things for some light and sanity. When exploring, you may find this weird looking stage. It can usually be pretty close to the spawn sometimes, so keep an eye out. The stage is mostly used for exploring the lore of Don't Starve if you adhere to the playbill. However, if you use the stage without a costume, after a short little performance, the stage will summon 3 Briar Wolves to attack you. Don't worry, these guys have comically low stats and can be killed even with basic tools. But when they die, they can drop some really useful early game equipment. Their drops are split into different sets, but can include things like sea fishing rods and lures, a top hat, backpack, miner's hat, and even a full set of farming equipment. The stage will usually reopen around 3 to 6 days later after this. Most enemies in Don't Starve Together can be fought using a system known as kiting, essentially swooping in to attack the enemy whilst they're on their attack cooldown and running away when they do attack. It's a good practice to learn this early on as it can massively increase your survivability. In my experience, the best enemies to try it on are Hounds, Knights, and Pigmen. Once you get a hang of an enemy's attack time, you can figure out how many times you can attack them before dodging, eventually killing enemies and even some bosses without taking a single hit. It's also worth keeping in mind most enemies will attack in a circle around themselves, save for a few fringe examples. So when dodging, always make sure to run away, not around. I recommend using the display attack range mod if you play on Steam and are having difficulties learning enemy attack ranges. If you go insane, don't panic. It'll happen eventually. And when you're insane, you'll be attacked by 2 different nightmares. There's a 3rd one on the boat, but don't worry about that just yet. The Crawling Horror is the easier one and will slowly shamble towards you, whilst the Terror Beak is significantly faster and deals a bit more damage. The best way to deal with these guys is to learn their patterns using the previously mentioned kiting method. These guys will always attack you as soon as you're within range. After they attack, you can swoop in and hold F to attack them, usually causing them to teleport away, and if you're lucky, even sneaking in another attack whilst they teleport. Keep doing this until they die, which will give you your sanity back. They will also occasionally taunt you after attacking. You can get free hits on them during this time and even bait them into taunting you if you're being attacked by multiple nightmares at once to help space out their attacks. But whatever you do, don't try and outrun them. They will always catch up with you. Even if you go back above the sanity threshold, they'll still try and get a cheeky hit or 2 off on you. Be vigilant. Also, never get on a boat if you're insane. Crawling horrors are harder to kite on a small area of a boat, and terror beaks will transform into terror claws which will attach to your boat and wildly flail at you. In the early game, feel free to hammer any pig houses that are far enough from where you want to live. The pigs inside and out won't care in the slightest if you do. Unless of course you're playing as a monster based character like Wartox or Weber. The materials they give you can help make your first alchemy engine and football helmet / umbrella. You can also rebuild the pig houses closer to your base if you want, since hammering a house will always give you 50% of the materials to make your own. You probably know that traps can catch rabbits, but did you know they can also catch other small animals like frogs and even spiders? A great way of dealing with them if you have no weapons, or you can just put traps around a spider den and check on it occasionally for free stuff. It can also trap spider warriors, not just basic ones. Don't be scared of using mods thinking it'll ruin your experience. There's gonna be some people out there that enjoy the purity experience and that's okay, but if you want to mod the game to add extra equip slots, new content, or even overpowered characters, then go for it. Remember, Don't Starve Together is also a sandbox game as well as a survival game. If you find it fun, then that's perfect. Don't let other people tell you how you should and shouldn't play the game. DST has one of the biggest and most talented modding communities out there, so give them the attention they deserve. I always use UI expanding mods, but more recently I use realistic placement, which lets you build things closer together. Sure, this could be considered as an advantage to some people, but those people ain't playing my world, I am. More of an opinion piece this is, but make sure you find the character that is right for you. Changing characters is a difficult thing to achieve for early games and especially newer players. Don't just worry about which character is the strongest, just figure out and experiment with the ones that fit your role and playstyle. Want to deal insane amounts of DPS and survive a beating? Wolfgang and Wigfrid can do that for you. How about more of a supportive role, healing your allies and granting them buffs? Wartox and Wily are your picks. Or maybe you want to command a huge army to overwhelm and crush your enemies. Weber and Wirt are the ones for you. What about gathering tons and tons of resources? Maxwell and Woody tick those boxes. Or maybe you want something different, something unique. Bolter can offer you a ranged alternative to combat, whilst WX-78 can be tailored to whatever character you wish. That's the miracle of this game. So many different characters with interesting and unique playstyles. Maybe I'll make another video going in depth on which characters would be right for you, but just experiment for now. Don't worry about who's meta and who isn't, just pick the one you like the look, sound and feel of. If people can defeat the final boss in under a week using only Wes, then anyone is usable. And that's that. Those are some of the few things my friend told me they wished they'd known from the start when playing Don't Starve Together for the first time. Let me know if there's any other beginner friendly tips you may have down below. But until then, look after yourself and stay loved. Bye everybody.